Before you play this video, make sure you wash your hands during doing all of the following. Guys, this is the new one. Now today I'm going to show you how to make a cake in a mug. Right here. This is a big mug, but hopefully it'll work. You can use small ones, but I cut the recipe in half. Now this cake is not going to be like your fancy cake, but it will be a nice cake. I tried making it before. It's kind of spongy-ish, but it still tastes good. So, this is how you make it. So, what you're going to do first is you're going to take 4 tablespoons of flour. Now, if you don't want to use baking soda, use self-rising flour. But I found out how to make it without self-rising flour. 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I'll show you what it looks like every time I mix it, but I'm not going to show you every time I add a new ingredient. Now, we need 4 tablespoons of sugar. Four of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. This cake will not take a ton of ingredients like it doesn't take your extra. You should have all these ingredients in your house, easy to make, something to do if you get home from school. So, our next ingredient is 2 tablespoons of cocoa. 2 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa. Does not have to be Hershey's brand, just happens to be the brand we have. One, two. So, for the last thing here, what we're going to do if you do not have self-rising flour is we're going to add 1/4 teaspoon, which is right here, the small one, very small, of baking soda. That'll just give it a nice rise, because without it, your cake won't rise. That's why you either have this or self-rising flour. Now we're going to mix it. Alright, for this next step here, once you've mixed it, you don't have to mix the powder good, because it's just powder. But, right now, you're going to add 1 egg. Now, after you do that, make sure you wash your hands, put the egg back in the container, and place back in the fridge. Now, once you've done that, make sure you wash your hands. What we're going to do is we're going to mix it. Mix the egg up really nice in the powder so it doesn't look like powder anymore. It's finished. It should look like this. Okay, next, what we're going to mix is some vanilla extract and some milk. So right now we're going to mix 3 tablespoons of milk and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So let's start with the milk. One, 2, 3, and since we spilt a little, just add a little bit. It's not going to hurt anything. And then 1 teaspoon which is right here. This is a teaspoon. Of vanilla extract. This is very strong stuff, so don't put too much in there. And once we do that, you mix it again. Make sure every time mixing, you mix it very nice and thorough. If it's not mixed thorough, you might get chunks of a certain ingredient in your cake. Now that you have that mixed, all you're going to do is you're going to add toppings, otherwise you are ready to cook. Now what we're going to cook it for is we're going to cook it for around 3.5 minutes, depending on how much you put in. If you put in a lot more, maybe cook it for 4, 4.5. If you want to be thorough, cook it for 5. I like cooking mine for 3.5. I've tried it before and it cooks it just perfect. And of course, with any pastry or any cake or cupcake, to check if they're done, just simply take a toothpick, stick it in as far as you can, pull it out. If there's a couple crumbs, that's okay. If it's kind of wet, that's okay. But if it looks gooey on the toothpick, that is not good. And when I just checked, no gooiness. That would be a crumb on it. But that looks good. So just let it cool for 3 to 5 minutes and you're ready to eat. So once the cake is cooled down, it should look like that. Coffee mug may still be hot. I don't know why. But let's try it. So, like I said, might be a little spongy. But otherwise, pretty nice cake. I'm not going to frost it. You can. There's no problem with it. I just chose not to, so let's try it. Pretty good. There's a coffee mug cake for you. See you next time, guys.